it! It's awesome!
That is really cool. I'm liking that.
It is, it's great! I mean, look at that. I can't wait to make figure out how to make a mechanical powered trap. I want to make an automated trap that kills them.
So now I'm curious, when you say mechanical in the Nether, how does that work?
Well, mechanical in the Nether, obviously, yeah, you can't use water wheels, but you can't use standard windmills either. You have to use what's called a vertical windmill. Now, vertical windmill use twice as much resources to make. Like, you need twice as many sails. Basically, you know, you make a normal windmill, it's like in a diamond shape, like top, left, right, and bottom.
Yeah.
Well, a vertical one is basically a circle. It's like how you make a chest, you know? It's essentially a circle. So, in fact, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm looking at it in the graphic grid right now.
Aye, so that's a vertical windmill, and you need more space to put it down, and you put it vertically. So you have a gearbox with an axle in it, and then what you do is you place it on that axle. But you have to be kind of lower because it places it right on the axle. So you have to kind of be lower than the gearbox and looking up at it to place it, I think. So then it's massive. I think it's 13 by 13 still, like the same width, but it's big and cumbersome. It looks cool though. It looks cool. And that works in the Nether. The idea is that it's a vertical windmill. It's using the vertical updrafts from the lava to power.
Right, the heat and all that.
Yeah, the heat and all that. So it's logical. So that works. But that's the only way of getting mechanical power in the Nether. But the good thing is there's no storms down here, so the windmill works indefinitely. So it's fine. Yeah, so that's how you get your mechanical power down here, and then the rest is just normal. But I'm just kind of trying to figure out how we would I mean, this trap is going to be very good experimentation for building the other trap. I mean, we've totally looked out. There is a second blaze spawner literally just across the way, like you can see it from where we are. So we've really looked out with that. So what we'll be doing is we'll be using that one. We'll leave this one as it is, but we'll make the other one into a mechanical trap. And what we're gonna have to work out is a few different mechanics from this. Like, do they spawn on hoppers, for instance? If they do, then wow, we've got a problem solved right there. If they don't, then we're gonna have to figure out. Oh well, no, we can easily do it with pistons. We can have pistons that'll push the items that drop into the hopper that's next to it. That'll work. Sorted, aye. So what we'll do is we'll have the same pads as what we do here, but we'll probably have it lower so they can fall down. Although we not really need to do that, I suppose. Yeah, we can have a block, and yeah, there's a few things we can do. We'll probably, I mean, I'm not going to really think about it too much now. Right, but there you go. Right. Should use that room as a dungeon. What's this? What? Did you block the corners by accident? There were cobble in the corners. In what corners? They should have still had enough room to spawn though. You only need 2 blocks high, and I think it was. You can use that room. Oh, right. Oh. Yeah, yeah. There was cobble. There were 2 blocks. Oh, I know what you mean. That was there, and then that was open. That's 2 blocks high, so they could still spawn there. They just weren't. Everything's identical. These are all... Oh, shit. These are all identical as well. So, you can look up there, and that's 2 blocks high. Should leave the 3 on the sides, so it's just 6 pads max. Oh, right, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, let's try that. You mean like that? Let's see if they all spawn on there. They're probably, yeah. Because there's only one place for them to spawn. They're going to spawn there, aren't they? Doesn't matter how many pads there are, as long as there's at least 6. I think. I don't know. Do you not think they'd maybe spawn quicker, though? I think they spawn quicker. I think the more pads they've got, the quicker they spawn. You reckon that's how it works, do you? It spawns a random between 2 and 3 per time, I think. From what we've seen, anyway. No, maybe 1 and 3. Well, we'll see right now, actually. Yeah, it's getting ready to go. See the flames coming out. There, 1. Okay, it spawned 1 that time. Let's kill him. And then you see the flames. I think you see the flames. There you go. Flames are coming through. They're about to spawn. Here we go. Any second. Taking their sweet time, like. Oh, there. 1 again. Is there one spawned outside? There's one out here. Oh, hello. That's a coincidence, though. That's just a random spawn. They can spawn anywhere on the nether brick. So let's just do that. Oh, yeah. Come on, you bastard. Come on, you bastard. Come on, yeah, you scumbag. Right, okay. He's angry. He's out there. His mate was in here. So that's what he was like. It was like, that's my girlfriend. She's in there. She's in there. I'll be like, what this one? What this one? Is this your girlfriend here? Kill him with the rod of his girlfriend. That'd be great. Still one spawning. They can spawn more than one at a time, can't they? Shouldn't matter how many valid areas there are. I think it does. I'm sure I read once that it tries to spawn. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. You should put a few blazes in the lower room, so they have to listen to their brethren above being raped and harvested. Yeah. But that's just what I remember from reading and when I made my overworld ones. Right, okay. I'll have to change that message. I'll have to go. In fact, I think I'm logged in, am I?
No, real quick, I'm looking at the hellfire dust. And
yeah.
it looks like soul sand and a hopper and urns. What's that all about?
Just give us 1 second. I'm just deleting that event thing. Delete. There we go. Right, so, what are you looking at? Hellfire dust?
Yeah, just how to make hellfire dust.
Oh, right, the urns you're talking about, the hopper and the soul sand. Right, okay, so basically, you can ignore the urns, you don't need them. What you need to do is you need to have a hopper, and you need to have you used hoppers yet?
I have not.
Do you have a saw?
I don't, no, that's
right,
what I'm
okay.
kind of looking.
Right,
next step is to get wolves.
Yeah, that's where your bottleneck is right now. Then, okay, so you need to get wolves, and you need to get a saw built, and then when you get a saw built, you can build a hopper. And I have explained about hoppers, haven't I?
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
Right. Well, basically, a hopper. Oh, hold on. There you go. Right. Okay. So a hopper is it's an item you put down. It's a block, and if you any items that fall on top of it will go in. It's like a chest, but it actually takes items into it. So if you drop an item on top of a hopper, it'll go into its chest. And when you right-click the hopper, you get a UI, and it's got a storage. It's the same size as a small chest, and then you've got another little box that's that you use for the filter. But anyway, so the filters. So yeah, there's a filter there, but basically any item you throw on top of a hopper, it'll go into it, okay? And then you can access the hopper like a chest, and you take it out. The filter, you can put different filters into a hopper as well. So so you can put in lots of different filters that basically kind of what will drop in and what won't. So for instance, I think, well, I know that ladders are a filter. Okay, I don't remember what filters let what through. It's on the website somewhere, but you can experiment yourself. That's what we tend to do.
Right.
But for instance, I mean, a grate. If you use I think it's 9 shafts in the thing, you can make a grate. I'm just going to test that now. Actually, is it called a? It's called a grate. And what that lets through is well, certain things, I don't know, but what you can also do is it's wicker. Wicker is like got the finest that's the finest holes in it. It basically acts like a sieve. So wicker, I think, has the finest holes in it. So what wicker does is it lets dust through and nothing else. So hellfire dust, gunpowder, nitra, flour, anything that's dust, like, it'll let through and it'll block everything else. So so if you want to filter stuff like that, then that works really well. Sand, it'll let sand through, I think. Oh, I don't know if it'll let sand through because sand's a block. It might do. I don't know. That's something that you'd have to really figure out.
So essentially, that diagram just pretty much says that the soul sand will filter out the hellfire dust.
That's right, yeah. That diagram is basically saying that you use soul sand as a filter, and what soul sand does, it filters souls. That's what it does. It lets souls through, but nothing else. It also lets it's also for XP. So I mean, with that, in respect to that, the ground netherrack, it'll let the souls through, and what you're left with is the hellfire dust, which is the concentrated, flammable dust. I mean, this mod is so logical it blows your mind. It's unreal. So obviously with netherrack, the actual block, you can light it on fire and it'll stay alive forever. So that is the hellfire dust within the block that's lighting up. So what you're getting is that concentrated dust. So that's what you do. You grind the netherrack up into a powder, which the texture doesn't really look like powder. So whatever. But you grind it up into little chunks, basically, and then what you do is you filter it through soul sand, and you get the dust, and it lets through the souls out of the netherrack, okay? That's why you put the urn underneath. You can put an urn underneath a hopper later on. That's once you've got the pottery wheels and the kiln and all that stuff. You put the urn underneath, and when you put 8 netherrack through the soul sand filter on the hopper, it'll make a soul urn. So you're basically bottling the souls of the nether. That's essentially what you're doing. Okay. So for now, though, all you're obviously interested in is the hellfire dust, and then once you've got that, then you can do everything else with it.
Right, because just looking at that, making that nether coal, that pretty much quadruples your coal.
It does.
That
exactly.
Sounds awesome.
It is. I mean, it basically takes it back to what it is in vanilla, because obviously coal gives you 4 torches. So it makes nether coal a viable fuel in the furnace rather than wood. Because all you need is basically a quarter of a coal for 8 cooking operations. Because obviously 1 nether coal is the same as an oak log in terms of cookable fuel, Right. So 1 oak log makes 8 food. So if you want to cook like a stack of 16 food, you need 2 oak logs or 2 nether coal, sorry, which is basically equivalent of half a coal, which is like nout, you know what I mean? Especially when you're strip mining. When you're strip mining, you're getting like seams of 32 coal and stuff. You're getting huge seam. When you hit a seam of coal, it's huge down there. So you end up with more coal than you need. Especially when you can turn it into nether coal, that's good. But another thing, I mean, blasting oil, be careful with that stuff. If you start making that, you've got to be very careful. I'll explain that later if you want. Concentrated hellfire is what you'll need to make your hibachis as well. And hibachi is basically redstone powered fire. That's all it is. You put the hibachi down. If you lead some redstone into it and you turn it on, it'll set a light. It just fire. And you need hibachis under your cauldron if you want to stoke the cauldron. Because stoking a cauldron gives you access to other recipes that you can use the cauldron for. It makes it into a superheated rendering device, so you can then use a stoked cauldron. How do you do that? Yeah, if you limit your recipe type to if you go to show hide recipes and then you limit it to show only recipes by cauldron, you know how to do that?
Yes.
I will do that, and then you can see all the recipes for cauldron. If you scroll down to the bottom, it changes, and it has a hibachi in a cauldron, and then that's basically the recipes you can get from that. So essentially, you can turn leather into glue, any leather, so anything that has leather in it, so leather armor, saddles, books, anything like that, it'll turn into glue, and you can turn any meat into tallow. You can also turn any wood into potash as well, and then you can do a few other things, like you can melt down bows into string and shafts, and you can melt down arrows, rotten arrows into flint, and later on you can use ender slag, and you can get brimstone and soul flux. That's how when you start getting into soul forged steel items. You can also make kibble as well, which is useful for feeding pigs and wolves. And kibble's made with rotten flesh, bone meal, and sugar. So plenty of stuff you get access to later on. Potash is used to... what's potash used for? To make nether sludge, which is basically a way of making... of converting netherrack into nether brick, basically. You can use it to, I think you use it to, get the white out of wool. Sorry, to make wool white. To undye wool, essentially, is what you use potash for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can also make soap. And you make soap, to wash sticky pistons. To make them pistons again. And you can wash the blood off chopping blocks. You can make chopping blocks, which, you can't make chopping blocks until you get an anvil. But you can collect them out of jungle temples. You can get chopping blocks out of jungle temples. We have 2 of them. We've got them outside our front door. And, they're a good block, aesthetically. They're stained with blood, but, you can wash them with soap. And then you get the chopping block back. And they're a nice texture, so you might want to... You make some when you get the anvil, but yeah, for now you can get them out of jungle temples. Yeah, that's it. Hellfire dust is you also put it in a cauldron and cook it up into concentrated hellfire bars, which you need to make the hibachis. So there you go.
Cool.
So there's loads to remember. I mean, obviously once you get, I mean, it's obviously best, you know, you ease yourself in. I mean, when you're getting when you get your saw, you'll have access to a whole bunch of shit. I mean, obviously you've got a cauldron, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got the cauldron set up. Okay. Yeah.
So you've got your netherrack set up as well, have you?
Yep.
Aye. So have you lit it? Have you lit the netherrack? Aye. So you've got a working cauldron. Oh, well, that's good. So. You put it a 3x3 square under the cauldron, yeah?
Yeah, actually, I just made it not an hour ago when I was watching you explain it to Sticks.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, well that's good. Well, so you've got 3x3. That basically makes it cook faster. Essentially, you can put one under the cauldron itself and it'll cook, but it'll cook slow. So you put 3x3 under, you've lit all the squares, and then, yeah, you can put any food in the cauldron, and then it'll just cook it up. Cauldrons also, I mean, assuming you've been looking at the cauldron and seeing what different recipes you can make with it, yeah?
Yep.
So you know what filaments are?
A little bit.
Filaments are basically used in light blocks. It's, redstone lamps?
Yes.
From vanilla. You get, I think is it glowstone lamp surrounded by redstone? When you get a redstone lamp? It's powerable by redstone, isn't it? Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, these are exactly the same. They got a different texture, but they work the same way, and they use a quarter of the glowstone. You only need. Oh no, sorry, no they don't. No, they don't. They use. Actually, no, I need to check now. Aye, they only use one glowstone dust, but they use redstone instead, and they use a bit of glass. So you need a redstone, a glowstone, and some string for the filament. And then you need a bit of glass and some redstone for the actual lamp itself, and then they power the redstone. That's how you can grow hemp underground. If you put a light block above them, then they'll grow underground. That's what lamps, light blocks are useful for, anyway. What else are we looking at? What else? Filaments. You need blaze powder. And your redstone and your string, and that'll get an element. Sorry, not a filament. That'll get an element, and that's a similar thing, except you need an element for the hibachi. That's what powers the hibachi. So that's what you need an element for.
Yeah, I see that now.
Yeah, you see that. Again, like I said before, you can make nether sludge, but you need potash, which means you need a stoked cauldron to get potash. So that's later on. You can get your tanned leather as well, as you can see, but you need dung and a bit of bark. You can get your nether coal that you've already mentioned. You can get fuses as well, which is used for dynamite. If you've been lucky enough to find any gunpowder, we have a bit of gunpowder, but not much. You can't make gunpowder until you've been to the end, so that's like end game shit. You can dye wool. Dye goes a lot further in a cauldron, so you can dye like 8 blocks of wool or 32 pieces of wool with one piece of dye, instead of having to go 1 to 1, you know. So that's worth doing if you want to dye some wool blocks and make some, you know, aesthetic nice things. Cauldron, you can use it. You can use that for a lot of stuff, actually. What else? Scroll down here. You can turn cactus into green dye in the cauldron. You don't have to put it in the furnace. What else? You can cook your eggs. Oh, concrete. Oh, well, cement. That is one of the most fun things of the mod. It's pourable stone.
Yeah, no, I remember watching back when it was just you, Liquid, and Sticks on your server. I remember you guys put that stuff down. That looks awesome.
It is. It's great, man.
That could be such a useful tool in so many situations.
It is, definitely, obviously all you need is a solar, and I mean the rest is just easy to get.
Right. Well, and you know,
what else?
Unless Liquid puts it down in the wrong spot, right?
Well, exactly, and exactly, it happens. It can happen, and but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, your cauldron unlocks your more advanced food, so you can get your cooked fish and milk, and you can make chowder. You can make chicken soup when we get carrots and potatoes. I mean, we'll be going on another adventure soon enough, because we want carrots and potatoes. We also want to bring villagers back at some point as well, because villager trading is a major part of the game as well. You can, but yeah, it is a major part. You can't go to the end without trading with villagers, so it's actually locked in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you need the Eyes of Ender. You can't craft them. You've got to buy them from villagers, and they cost a lot. So the way it works with villagers is that your farmers are the ones that provide you with gems. Emeralds are your currency, basically.
Right.
And the farmers, what you do is you provide the farmers with stuff like dirt, logs, hemp seeds, a hoe every now and then. I mean, what happens is you can level up the villagers to level 5. Each level they get, they give you an extra trade. So at level 1, they'll only give you 1 trade. You can only trade with them. I don't know how it works in vanilla, I can't remember. But they'll only give you 1 trade. So up to level 5, you'll get 5 trades. Each trade will obviously be different. You can go along and scroll through and see which one you want. As they progress in level, before they actually level up, because they've got an XP bar and everything, before they level up, when they're right at the end of the XP bar and they're ready to level up, you have to. They ask for something special. So a farmer will ask for an iron hoe at the end to level them up. So I mean, obviously, right now that's quite a substantial investment. It's like 2 iron ingots he wants, basically, to level them up. Obviously, once you've got a mob trap and a crucible, it's now to drop in the ocean. at the end of level 2, I think he wants like an hibachi or something. So it's little things that like you can't level up past them until you're at that level in the tech tree. So you can level villagers up with you as you progress through the tech tree. So it's really cool in that respect. And then obviously they offer you better trades later on. I think the farmers start offering you food, good food as well, like you know, like chicken soup and stuff like that, you know, and whatever. It's good. What's going on with the chat? Hi, BR80. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's another thing. When you want to filter ground netherrack through the hopper, you've got to power it with mechanical power. Okay.
So pretty much just put like an axle up to it or something.
Oh my god. Sorry? Yeah, an axle. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, if you put an axle, you hear it when you power it. You hear it. It like makes a thud when it powers. And if you right click on it and open up the hopper, you can see there's a little gear cog in there,
okay.
like a texture of a cog, and that'll be beige color.
Okay.
So you'll know it's powered. But if it's not powered and you filter through more than 7 ground netherrack, it breaks and a ghast spawns. So you've got to be careful, basically, because a ghast on the overworld can just wreak havoc. He can set fire to forests and all that kind of shit. So just be careful when you're doing it.
That can be avoided by just powering it.
Yeah, if you power it, you can filter as much through as you want. That's not a problem. What am I doing here? What am I... Was I still looking at... I think I was still looking at the cauldron, wasn't I? Oh no, I wasn't. Or I was actually. You can make oh no. There's a 5th tree type, FYI. I'm not sure if you knew.
Well, I know in your rules there was the bloodwood.
Yeah. You gotta be careful.
I was actually just about to ask about that. Like, what's so dangerous about them?
Right. Well, obviously you can make them in the cauldron. You have your 8 soul urns, your nether wart, and 1 of each other sapling, and you get a bloodwood sapling. Now, bloodwood you can only... There's a sapling you plant it in soul sand. Okay, it'll only plant in soul sand, and it'll only grow out of soul sand. Now, what happens is when it grows out of a tree, it's like, oh yeah, that's nice, but it'll keep growing. It branches off, and it actually keeps growing like a real tree. So it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it will never stop.
So now, in that sense, could you actually like plant it and essentially have like unlimited wood in one spot?
Yeah, but it's not really like practical, because obviously you can plant it and it'll grow into a tree, and then that tree will keep growing. But I think once you start pruning it, it doesn't grow back. I'm not sure. I've never really gone into it that much. But basically, it'll keep growing. Now, in the last world, I think it was no, it wasn't. I don't think it was our last world. Yeah, I get mixed up between the worlds and the different nethers and the different worlds. But one of the worlds, I think it was the world before the one I started streaming on. We planted a blood. Oh, another thing is, obviously, and you can imagine this happening, if the leaves get set on fire, which they will, either by an errant ghast fireball, or if it grows into lava, which is entirely likely in the nether, the tree will set on fire. Now it'll burn down. The whole thing won't burn, but it's got the standard fire rules, you know. So fire doesn't burn down an entire forest, but it'll burn down some of it. So it'll burn some of the tree away. Now, obviously, when the leaves burn, sometimes they drop a sapling, and the same happens with this. The bloodwood leaves will burn, and they'll drop a sapling. Now, if the sapling drops on soul sand, it plants itself. So then you get another tree growing. So basically the nether will fill with trees, and and it'll get so bad that you'll not be able to contain it, because it will literally fill the entire nether. It'll just fill it if you're not careful. So that's why I've got a rule that you have to contain your bloodwood trees. Now you contain them by you grow them in, you basically get a room, cobble room or stone, something from the overworld, nothing, no netherrack, none of this, and you've got to basically have a room that's completely encased. It's got to be 2 blocks wide, at least. The walls, the ceilings, the floor has to be 2 blocks wide. And you put a piece of soul sand in the middle of the room, and you plant your tree, and then there you go. Okay? So you don't want the ceiling to be that high, so you can get up quite easily and cut it down. But yeah, that's what you want.
So now, you say that. So is there like a certain benefit to having these bloodwoods? Is there something that they're used for specifically?
Not specifically. But you can't. You know how you can't use bone meal on saplings to make them grow instantly.
Right.
You can use a soul urn on a bloodwood sapling and it will grow instantly. So you can use bloodwood trees always grow in the same pattern, as far as I'm aware. They never grow into like a big variation. It's like the birch trees, you know, they'll always grow the same shape. It's like, I think it's like 6 logs high, and that's it. It's something like 6 or 7 logs high, and it doesn't grow any other way. So this makes them ideal for automated tree farms. You can make a fully automated tree farm. So what you do, later on in the mod, you can actually just have a box. You put bloodwood saplings in, and you put soul urns in, and you get a block dispenser will dispense the bloodwood sapling. Then it'll use a soul urn on the sapling, grow it, and then the saws will chop the wood, and your water will collect it. A piston will move it out the way. It's all very, you know. I've made one before with a standard tree that automatically cut the tree up when it's sawed. It was pretty good actually, but I made it in creative. So yeah, I've never made one in what you call it, in survival, and recently. And not with bloodwood. Now, the bloodwood trees, when you grow them in the overworld, and you can, they will not grow naturally. You have to use a soul urn to grow them, but they'll not keep growing. They'll not like fill the overworld or anything. So they're safe. They're completely safe in the overworld.
Okay.
So yeah. What's happening? They are not restricted to growth restrictions, so an automated tree farm in the Nether will always work. What? Oh, right. What's happening? It says about to stop before I made kids lunch and load the distro. Oh yeah, I was about to stop by, but I've just been chatting. I'm not actually playing now, I'm just chatting on. Will trees grow even in unloaded chunks? No, they won't. No, they won't grow. So, if no one's in the Nether, then nothing changes. Nothing happens. I mean, that's typical. You know, that's the game. You know, that's the way the game is. Oh, right. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's right, yeah. Oh, right. So, well, so would they just grow like 3 blocks high or something? What if you planted one and then you had like 2 blocks above it? Would it still grow? Don't know. We'll have to test that. We'll test that later. Whatever. So yeah, I think that's your lot with your cauldron. Like, I think that's what you've got access to anyway. I mean, obviously, like I say, some of the stuff with the cauldron you don't get access to until later because you need. I mean, like tanned leather, you need wolves first, don't you? So.
Yeah, I'm out running around right now just looking for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And later on you make gunpowder, you've got to use brimstone. I mean, you know, the beauty, I mean, this is the beauty of the end as well. I mean, this is the logic as well. I mean, obviously, the logic of netherrack isn't enough to blow you away. You know, netherrack, you're grinding it up into ground netherrack chunks, and then you're filtering it through soul sand, which lets souls through it, and it expels the dust. And so you get the hellfire dust, you turn it into concentrated hellfire bars, which are used to make hibatchis. And that's obviously, you've got the concentrated hellfire bars, which are the top of the hibachi. So that's how the hibachi lights up, because you've got the concentrated hellfire. And it's controlled with redstone. And then you can actually you can use 9 concentrated hellfire bars and turn them into blocks of concentrated hellfire. And then you can light them on fire. And they'll stay lit as well. Now, the beauty of them is you can light the sides of them on fire and they'll stay lit, so you can use them to make, like, kind of signs out of fire and stuff like that. But, oh my god, I haven't even gotten into beacons, because beacons in this mod are incredible. They're amazing, because the beacons in this mod doesn't have a GUI. The function of the beacon is determined by what it's made out of. So if you make a beacon out of concentrated hellfire blocks, it gives you fire resistance, which makes sense. If you make it out of diamond blocks, you get Fortune 3 on all of your picks. Stuff like that. So, have you experimented with some beacons in vanilla?
Yeah, I've experimented with them outside of this mod, so I'm somewhat familiar, so that makes sense.
Right, so yeah, they're different in the mod then. So you don't have a GUI with it. Yeah, you have a lot of... I mean, glowstone beacons, they give you night vision, I think. What else is there? The gold blocks beacons gives you haste, I think it is. An iron beacon changes... it makes your compass point to it. So if you make a beacon out of iron blocks, your compass will point to it. So that's kind of a way of changing the compass to point to a different area other than spawn. Now, if you use soul forged steel blocks, which is the material you get after diamond ingots, that's like the next step up, you know.
Right.
If you make it out of those blocks, then you can right-click the beacon and you set your spawn point there. So that's end game.
Oh,
you can change your spawn point. That's right at the end. That's the end of the game. That, you know, when you can set your spawn point with a soul forged steel beacon. What else is there? There is... What else can you make a beacon out of? Oh, you can make a beacon out of dung as well. Wolf shit. You can make blocks of wolf shit and you can make a beacon out of it. But it's not something you want to do. I'm not going to tell you what it does, but it's not something you want to do. What else? There are others. Emerald. An emerald beacon gives you looting 3 on your swords, I think. But not only that, an emerald beacon is useful because if you put it next to your mob trap, it also affects your mob trap. So it doesn't matter how a mob dies, it'll drop more. So it's good idea to put an emerald beacon next to your mob trap where they die. So it increases the output of your mob trap, which is quite good. Blocks of soap. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to check the, there are more. I'm going to check the, wiki beacons. There we go. Hardcore beacons. Right. Let's have the list. Okay, so concentrated hellfire. Yeah, players are immune to fire. Diamond, fortune. Yeah. Emerald, looting. Glass is just aesthetic, it gives no effects. Glowstone gives you night vision. Gold gives you haste. Iron is a magnetic pole. Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so soul forged steel is your binding point. And lapis, you can build out of lapis blocks as well, and that gives you true sight. So it's basically the same as putting on a pair of ender spectacles, but you don't get the green overlay. Basically what true sight is it black particles emanate from the ground if it's dark enough for mobs to spawn. So it basically makes it very easy to see where mobs can spawn and where they can't. So it makes it very easy to light up your base, like, correctly.
Yeah, that sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, it's nice. You can get that with you can make ender spectacles. All you need is obviously you need a strap, so you need to tan some leather first. But if you get a strap, I mean, put it in craft guide. You get a strap.